Hey, what's up, guys? I'm Billy with SpecTrain, and I have beef with big gun oil. Sort of joking, sort of not. Right? Let me explain what I mean. Over the years, I have tried out tons of gun oils. Here is a few, samples, right? Not trying to pick, a fight with anybody in particular, but I've tried all of these, and I noticed two things across the board. Number one, these are kind of crazy expensive. What do I mean? This stuff is probably some of the most premium and highest researched oil on the market in the automotive industry, right? This is what I put in my truck, which costs a whole lot more than any of the guns that I own, right? This stuff right here, if you do the math, is 30 cents an ounce, right? The cheapest stuff that I just showed you, this stuff is $4 an ounce, basically, right? Which is, trending towards the reasonable side. The worst offenders in this group are more like $10 an ounce. And there are companies right now, the gun butter pen oilers, as an example, are like $62 an ounce, right? Which, I don't know exactly what they're paying for materials, but by my estimation, that's like a 40,000% markup, right? So that ticked me off. The other thing that ticked me off is that none of this stuff actually works very well. Why? Well, because they're oils, right? So, classic oil, right? Which this is as an example. When I pour it out and actually look at it, it obviously just runs straight down my hand there, right? And that's because it's straight oil, and that's what oil does. And oil works really good, this stuff as an example, in a closed system, like your engine in your car, where it can't get away. It can't go anywhere. It's captured. However, in guns, we don't have captured systems, right? Now, this gun oil, for instance, this stuff, obviously everyone's been using for decades. Why does this work? Why was this thought up so highly? Because if you have, a blued steel rifle, a bolt-action rifle, an over-under shotgun, something like that, and you're needing to coat the outside of that barrel along with the internal workings with a very thin, light layer of something to protect it and actually prevent rust, but you don't want the outside of that barrel to be thick and sticky and greasy, right? Then something like this works phenomenally well for that application. It truly does, right? However, when I'm coating, my AR bolts, or even the inner workings of something like, a striker-fired pistol, that's not really what I'm trying to achieve, right? We're trying to lube the gun and keep it wet so that even when it gets really, really dirty, it still can actually run very, very smoothly and not run into issues, right? And so we're trying to achieve massively different things nowadays with gun oil than, again, back when this stuff was formulated, okay? So years ago, I started creating my own stuff by mixing oil and grease. This is not a new concept to me, right? But, here's literally what I came up with. This is the first iteration. I still have a bunch of it left over. I was mixing up in mason jars, and it's literally motor oil and grease mixed together. Now, it took some work to find two that work really well, don't separate over time, what the right viscosity is, all that kind of stuff. I had to buy some tools, so it was way harder to mix than I first thought. But I mentioned on the podcast a while back that I was, making this stuff, and everybody was like, that sounds really cool. Can we get some? And I was like, really? You can just mix it yourself, But then I'm realizing, people don't want to buy the bulk materials and figure out how to mix it and all that kind of stuff. And I was like, cool, I'll put it up. So I've actually sold out of this twice by the time I'm posting this video, but hopefully at the time you're seeing this, there is some available on the website, and this is just for the people that are interested to kind of explain what this stuff is and how it works, right? So when we're applying it, let's start with, as an example, an AR bolt, right? This is what I came up with. This is the final iteration. This is split sauce, okay? And again, it's just the same mixture, but it's in an actual bottle. Now, people are always wanting, as an example, pen oilers, and pen oilers are great for straight oil, right? But this is thicker than that. And the reason that's cool, my actual favorite way to oil an AR bolt, as an example, is literally just to get some of this out on my hands. A generous little glob. You'll notice that it's not running, right? So what I can do now with my AR bolt is literally just slather it on here, right? And obviously I'm using latex gloves and all that, but really this stuff is not toxic until it's used. What makes, engine oil and other kind of oils toxic is when it, combines with that, burnt carbon or whatever it is, all those kind of after effects of the machine actually running that gets combined in the oil. That makes it kind of toxic, but right now it's really not, right? So I literally just slather it on nice and thick. Now, the problem is, if I oil a bolt carrier group like this with this stuff or any of the other stuff, right? And I put it in my safe, the next morning there will be a pool of oil on the floor at my safe, and my gun will be coated, right? Because it'll just literally leak out, because again, it's oil, and it runs off. So what I like about this stuff is it's thin enough that it doesn't, retard the movement of anything that's happening here. I can slather it on recoil springs, all that kind of stuff. I'm not going to have any issues, but it's just thick enough that I can slather it on like this on something like a bolt. And what's not going to happen is it's going to run off and be pooled in the bottom of my safe. It can migrate a little bit where it needs to. If this is in my rifle, I can take this bottle, squirt it in the holes like you normally would, and it will migrate, but it's not going to run off. It sticks in place way longer, lasts way longer, and genuinely this is the best performing gun lubricant that I've ever found. However, you may not always want to do this, right? When you're not, at your bench lubing up something like a bolt carrier group. So what I also managed to become a dealer for is these. This is one of the coolest things that I've ever found in terms of like stuff that's in my range bag that genuinely makes my life easier. This is actually a patented system from Occam Defense, and I'm going to show you how I actually use it. But this is what the kit looks like. Here's what it comes with. It comes with one of the, kind of the master bench syringes and then 3 of the little ones. I'll show you how this system works. Okay, so here's my very old, like, labels coming off, obviously, but this is, my old kind of master syringe is kind of what I call it, right? And obviously, it's a basic syringe. So I can use this on my bench. Say I'm going to lube something like a pistol. By the way, I just got back from 3 days in Texas in 40-mile-an-hour, desert winds. I shot about 900 rounds with this pistol. I lubed it before I left, flight there and back, shot it for 4 days. I don't know if you'll really be able to see, but, the rails look like I just lubed them, right? They're still visibly wet, visible oil on the rails, which is pretty cool, right? But if I wanted to lube this up, literally what I would do is just take this and put a dab on the spots that obviously need oil with this syringe, and it does a great job. This is a thicker needle than most of the ones that you're going to come with because that's actually intended for grease, but it works really great with the split sauce. Simply throw it back on my pistol, smooth as glass, right? Now, what do I actually do, though? This is not going to do great in my range bag. So that's where the smaller syringes come in. This is the genius of the Occam system. Here's a Magpul can. This is what I carry some things that I don't want to get crushed in my range bag with, right? Including 2 of these little Occam syringes. And what makes this genius is the fact that the plunger is removable. This is actually the patented part of the system. So when I remove this cap right here, you'll notice that on here is this black sleeve. And when that pops off, that becomes the actual plunger, right? So now I have, a typical plunger syringe with a lower lock tip. So it actually comes with a threaded on, locked tip that's going to prevent, leaking, that kind of stuff. And when it's time to actually use it, I can unscrew it. And if I want to put a needle oiler on, that's honestly why the whole reason I carry this one. You can see that the tip is actually just kind of stored and captured in there so that I don't lose it. So I'll pop this one, dump the tip out. Here's the green grease tip, thread it on, and now I've got my oiler, right? So now, again, I can just use it like a normal syringe, just like the master one, and oil whatever I need to oil. The genius of this is not only that it has an actual threaded cap, unlike, again, most of your actual pen oilers that have like a little rubber tip that just flies off with any pressure. So it's got a threaded cap, but it also has a removable plunger. So no matter what happens in your bag, nothing's ever going to push on this plunger because it's removed. Also, I fly with my guns and my range bags all the time. So because this is, a moving syringe in here, when you get on a plane or whatever and pressure is applied here, it can just expand, right? So again, this is the one thing that I've ever found for my range bags that has never, ever leaked a single time. And that's why I love these so much. They're reusable. It's a one-time purchase. Now, the problem with a removable plunger is there's no way to suck material back into this. So how in the world do you refill these? Well, that's where, again, your kind of master syringe comes in. So if I remove my actual grease tip off of here, you can put now the threaded refill adapter. Again, I'm going to remove the grease tip from this one and thread on, like so, the smaller syringe, right? So now these are connected, and I can simply apply pressure here and actually refill the smaller syringe with the split sauce, right? And now I can just unthread this, and here is my filled syringe, ready to go back into my range bag, right? Totally full, ready to go. Back in the Magpul can it goes, ready for the next range trip, right? So that Occam kit, it's such a simple thing, but it's kind of a lifetime purchase. I don't really ever see how you could, really break these or wear these out. So it's a one-time buy that you can just reuse with any kind of lube you want. By the way, you don't have to use it with mine, and it's genius. Now, I will say, I don't think anyone's really been promoting this product for quite some time. So I've now bought Occam's entire inventory out twice, thanks to the demand that you guys have been putting up for these. So these have been out of stock pretty often. However, they have agreed specifically for us to ramp up production of these syringes. So keep an eye out. You can sign up for the back-end stock request to get on the list for as soon as I get these back. You can buy them. Hopefully, they will be more readily available in the future as they are able to spin up their production. And thanks so much for the support you guys have been giving us on this product. I'm really excited about it. This is the oil. Look, I'm selling this for like $1 an ounce, so literally a quarter of the price that any of these other gun companies are doing. I'm not really doing that, obviously, as a way to make money. I would have to sell a metric ton of gun oil to actually make a living off of this stuff. But this is something I can make easily, and it works really well for me. And if it's something that I can pass on to you guys that is going to be helpful to you in your shooting, then that's a win-win for me. And again, these are just absolutely genius, and thanks to Occam for letting us represent the product, and super excited to get some feedback from you on how you like it. Because, man, I just see so many guys, again, carrying something like this around in their range bag with a rubber tip on, and they've got like a triple layer Ziploc or whatever, and it's just like full of grease and gunk in there from where these things spill all the time. And it's a royal pain in the butt, to be totally honest, right? So we introducing split sauce. That should explain how that works. By the way, this is the 8-ounce bottle. This is the 4-ounce bottle. Folks are kind of, I think, confused sometimes about the sizing on these. It is what it is, right? I mean, one of these would last me forever. You don't have to use this nearly as much as most of those other oils. So, one of those little syringes, I mean, that's way less than an ounce. These smaller syringes, that's just a few really cc's of oil, and I usually fill one of those and have it in my range bag for, months at a time, right? You just don't have to use that much. So, buy what you think you need. The 4-ounce, 8-ounce, I mean, this one's a little bit cheaper just because you're kind of breaking out the cost of the bottle a little bit more. So this one's a little bit cheaper per ounce than this one is. But they're both great values and the cheapest really quality gun oil that I think you can buy on the market right now. And in my experience, at least, the best performing gun oil that's available right now on the market as well. So hope you guys like it. Enjoy. If you got questions, let me know. I look forward to hearing your feedback on how split sauce works for you guys. We'll see you in the next video.